Alright, bitches, let's begin! Episode 35 of Dragon Ball Super is why we're here. Turn anger into power. Vegeta's all-out battle. Yeah, now Vegeta can start whipping ass. I was pumped! Alright, so this episode picks up with Vegeta and Frost about to begin their battle. And what happens here is Frost kind of goes over what happens when he hits someone with what he deems his unfair hand. That's where they'll lose consciousness. And he appears to be goading Vegeta on, and he points out that his really super dangerous weapon is actually in his left hand. And like you see like almost like acid drip out of it. And he says this, is what's really dangerous for opponents. And Vegeta doesn't give a shit. Vegeta's just like, whatever. Do whatever you want. I'm gonna beat your ass in like one hit. So Frost is really becoming a chatterbox here. The Frieza in his personality's coming out. And he, blah blah blah, okay, so if the weapons are allowed now, which, Beerus and Champa don't care, they just let, Frost use weapons for this fight. If that's allowed, then Frost says, well, certainly killing should be allowed for this one match. And the referee's like, well, and then Champa just, shoots the gong to start the match. So then Frost, immediately charges Vegeta, thinking, oh, I'm gonna kill him, he starts talking all this shit. Rule breaking and killing are allowed. Welcome to my area of expertise. Watch carefully. And then, boop, in an instant, Vegeta, Super Saiyan, charges forward, one-hitter quitter, get the fuck out of here. He's screaming trash. Just a fucking Liu Kang uppercut. Frost goes flying out of the arena. He hits off of the thing where Vados and Champa are, and then he bounces off the top of the barrier, breaks it, and crashes down to the ground. One-hitter quitter by Vegeta. Good. Just like I was thinking. He didn't go Super Saiyan Blue, but he fucking sunned him. That's all that happened right there. Vegeta said, hold my dick, and he sent Frost into the ground. That's what I wanted to see. That's what should happen with Golden Frieza too. Super Saiyan Blue, Kamehameha, bye bitch. Bye Felicia, bye Frost. Get the fuck out of here. On to different characters. So then it cuts over to Beerus. He's inspecting Goku's body quite thoroughly, and on Goku's hand, he sees the mark where Goku was poisoned by Frost, and so he demands that Goku be allowed to re-enter the tournament. Champa agrees to this, and Beerus says that he'll slot Goku in behind Vegeta. Goku says, well, how about you slot me behind Monaka? I'll go last. And this is really interesting because Beerus is appearing to get quite nervous and says the Trump has to go last. And, Goku's like, oh, well, me and Vegeta will win the tournament. He won't even get the fight. And it's interesting because it seems like Beerus is hiding some secret about Monaka. Almost as though Monaka is weak. And, Whis over there kind of says like, oh, yeah, he passed out after seeing Goku's first Kamehameha. And then it's like, what? And you actually see Beerus start to freak out like you haven't really seen before. And Whis says we can't keep Monaka's true colors a secret much longer. And Goku goes over to Monaka and, he tries to ask him for some sparring. And Beerus jumps in front and he's like, no, don't talk to him. And Goku's like, something's not right. And it seems like Monaka has zoned out. And Beerus hits him away and then says he's meditating. He'll destroy anything he's been known to destroy, planets like this. So it's very odd. Something definitely very fishy is going on with Monaka. Obviously, we're going to have to wait a little while to figure out what this. I don't know what the deal is with Monaka, and honestly, I don't have really any guesses. I mean, I was thinking maybe, I don't know. I've got nothing. Right now, my guess is going to be, I can't think of anything. I don't know. How about Monaka is actually strong, and this is a red herring right here. Maybe he's just super stupid or something. Yeah, my official guess, I'm putting it on wax right now. Monaka is as strong as advertised. We'll see, though. We'll see. After this, Champa before, you know, after declaring Goku could fight, he was trying to figure out who the next fighter would be. And he looked at the robot who has not yet, done much, talking or really been on screen very much. Auta Magetta or Auta Magetta, something like that. Champa decides to add a new rule. He has Vados create a barrier around the ring, a smaller one than the one that was used before. And basically, it's a new rule that if you touch any part of that barrier, it's an automatic loss. It counts as a ring out. And Champa's excuse is that, a couple of fighters have, hit the outer barrier and, cause the atmosphere to be sucked out, and it could be dangerous to the humans who were brought, from Beerus' side. Beerus disagrees, that he doesn't care because it's obviously some sort of trick Champa's using that's going to benefit his next fighter. Now, they start to play rock, paper, scissors to determine if the barrier will be used. Then Vados looks down, and you see Frost slinking off. He's outside of the barrier. Now, remember, Frieza and Frost, as part of that race as well, can actually survive without atmosphere, so he doesn't need to be inside of the barrier. Now, he goes over, beyond like a little mountain ridge, and there's a cube similar to the one that Whis and Beerus used, it looks like, but this was used by Champa and Vados, their team. And there's also a big pile of treasure. And then there's a flashback to before, where Champa said that if they won, they could have this treasure. Everything they had asked for as a reward is there. Now, Frost is about to steal it all when from behind, the character named Hit tells him to stop. Now, this is the character who I said kind of looks like a combination of Final Form Frieza and Perfect Cell. Frost starts freaking out and says, "You're the legendary Hitman Hit. Has Champa ordered you to kill me, or has some survivor of a planet I destroyed ordered you to kill me?" And Hit, I have no idea what he really does right here, but he sort of activates some technique. You see, it almost looks like the dimension, like the actual world, kind of cracks around him, and then those cracks start appearing in Frost, and Frost kind of gets knocked unconscious and doesn't really realize what happened. It does seem similar to when Super Boo was losing his shit against Vegeta, when Vegeta was, beating the shit out of Super Boo, and, Super Boo started screaming, and, cracks in the universe started to just appear. It kind of seems like that, but obviously we'll have to figure it out later. And then Vados is kind of behind a rock, oh, I guess I didn't even need to come over here after all. So then it goes back to, Beerus and Champa. They weren't able to settle it with rock, paper, scissors. I guess they tied every single time. It's whatever. So then at this point, the robot jumps down, and Vegeta and this robot, Magetta, are going to start fighting. Elder Kai, Kibito, and Supreme Kai seem a little surprised by the existence of, this robot fighter. And the Supreme Kais from Universe 6 kind of, laugh and say, you guys should have him too, aren't you aware of this? And Kibito's no, and, the old Kai scolds him. It's kind of funny. So then Vegeta and this metal warrior begin battling, and it's very clear that he's extremely large and powerful, but he's very slow, and it seems like he's eating lava, or he has lava inside of him, so clearly his body is quite sturdy. Now, Vegeta sees through Champa's plan of this trap with the barrier, and he thinks he's able to stay ahead of the robot warrior here, and he hits him a bunch of times, but it doesn't actually do anything. And the robot appears to power up and begins getting a lot faster, fast enough for Vegeta to be a little worried. So Vegeta jumps into the air and starts thinking to himself, clearly this fighter is not suited for air combat. He's suited much more for ground combat. That's why Vados and Champa created this barrier to restrict, my movements in the air. So what Vegeta starts to do is, he does his, typical energy volley that he's done in, every fight he's ever done. Now, the robot warrior Magetta, to counter this, begins shooting lava out, which is an interesting attack. And it is kind of like canceling out, Vegeta's energy blast. So it's kind of like I don't know, an equal force here. Now, Beerus says, like, oh, he's using a weapon, this is a foul. But the referee comes in with some info and explains that this is just his technique, Magetta's technique, Lava Spit. So it's shooting out lava, and it kind of creates, like, like smoke or haze. And, the arena, like, fucking smoldering hot smoke here. And Vegeta's trying to fly around and evade it, but he's having trouble because, he has to stay within the limitations of the barrier, because if he touches the barrier, he'll lose. Then the smoke envelops him, but he transforms Super Saiyan to sort of, like, regain, his hold on the fight. But, as Goku, like, they're like, okay, he's gonna be okay, Whis says, no, not really. And then it looks like inside the barrier, because of the lava and the smoke and all the attacks that the Robot Warrior is doing, you see Vegeta just profusely sweating like crazy. And it's clear that this must be part of Champa's strategy, is to sort of, make the heat too unbearable for Vegeta to withstand. And then the episode ends right here looking like Vegeta's going to have a real tough time against this Robot Warrior. So this is interesting in that we're not really dealing so much right now with just like, Dragon Ball Z fights, Goku versus Frieza, just punch, 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 punch. Some of these fighters are actually having like different abilities and different shits going on. I find this kind of interesting. And then in the preview for the next episode, we just see a bunch of scenes as the battle continues, and it looks like Vegeta busts out his very, very useful Final Flash. Obviously, that's going to be fucking dope, because when Vegeta uses the Final Flash for the first time against Perfect Cell, that's a lot of people, like, just absolutely love that part. Final Flash! Like, hell yeah, hell yeah. Christopher Sabat, you are a G!